Good morning, Wareham. It is Monday, November 4th, and we have a good show here for you. The news headlines, the weather report, and today in history. This morning, a visit to Plymouth to take a look at 1620 Winery. Also, we are going to air my exclusive interview that took place on November 1st. That was on Friday, with the Massachusetts Nurses Association held when they held a rally in front of the town hall with other protesters protesting Toby's decision to shut down the maternity ward. So we'll be airing that interview today, and it was the Massachusetts Nurses Association mothers and nurses joining in to for their take on what is taking place. But before any of that, we would like to take this moment to thank Not Your Average Antiques and Antique Shop down Cranberry Highway in East Wareham for donating the props that you see in the morning show. So stay tuned because the weather and the news headlines are next. More than 200 people walked and jogged at 8th Annual Grampy's Cranberry Harvest 5K Run or Walk, which was held at AD Makepeace property to honor the memory of Robert Grampy Conway and raise money for education scholarships through the Cranberry Education Foundation. Also last night, a rollover crash in front of Slice of Heaven restaurant on Cranberry Highway sent 2 people to the hospital with serious injuries after one was injured from the car. The accident only involved one car, and the 911 call was placed at 12:49 a.m. The Wareham Police Department is investigating the accident with the help of the State Police's Accident Reconstruction Team. No fatalities were reported. And that's all for this morning news. We're going to come back with the weather report. Except for the few afternoon clouds today, mainly sunny. High at 51, cloudy tonight with a low of 44. Those clouds will continue to tomorrow with occasional showers for the afternoon. High at 62 and low at 37. And that's all for this morning weather forecast. And right now we're going to take a look at 1620 Winery in Plymouth.
If ever you want to, I want you.
This is a story about a winery, and it's also a love story because you guys are married.
Yes.
And you decided that being married is not enough. Let's do business together.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about how you got started.
So,
I'm just going to sit here.
Bob and I have worked together for over 18 years, and we were in the healthcare industry for 15 of those. We decided that 15 years is long enough, and we decided to sell the company. Through that year-long process, neither one of us knew what was next. We didn't know what we were going to do next.
One thing they were certain of was Robert's passion for winemaking. The grandson of a Sicilian winemaker, winemaking has been Robert's lifelong obsession. So when he discovered that both a small winery on Plymouth waterfront and a large mill building in Cottage Park were available, he seized the opportunity. Today, the couple run a cozy waterfront wine bar, while the large building at Cottage Park has been transformed into a large-scale winery and an event venue.
And the proverbial, the rest is history.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
All right, so but it wasn't as easy. Well, it was easy because you have some background in winery. You didn't just wake up in the morning and say, I am going to make wine.
Making wine at home and making wine like this is very different.
Very different. How is it different?
Well, you're making it in a lot larger volumes. You make a mistake, it costs a lot more money.
tens of thousands of dollars.
We've made some mistakes.
Among those mistakes also came great successes. Robert's distinctive wines have melded gold in competitions. So could we talk about some of the wines that you make here? What is your favorite wine?
Bradford's Ghost.
Okay, could you tell us what to expect in that wine?
It's a big, bold, heavy, tannic Bordeaux blend, which is my favorite.
Which is your favorite?
It took him 5 years to make this wine, and it is only available to folks that belong to our wine cult. Yeah.
So let's talk about actually the process of making wine. When you are thinking of a wine, actually not just the name, but the taste, tell me what goes into that process? How does it come about?
Well, it depends on what kind of wine you want to make.
Okay. How do you get your ideas? You just they come to you in your dreams?
No, I mean, there's only so many wine grapes.
Okay.
So there's only so many kinds of wine that you can make.
Yeah.
So I pretty much make what I like. And I'm trying to push beyond that because that's some of the feedback we've gotten is that I'm not as passionate about the white wines as I am the red wines.
Okay.
So we're trying to put more emphasis on making some high quality white wines now.
The majority of 1620 wines are made of grapes from their vineyard in California. Now, when you're talking about grapes, how important are they in the winemaking process? Can you blame a grape? You can say this was a terrible grape. That's why my wine is bad.
Yeah, you can't make good wine from a terrible grape,
Yeah.
but you can make bad wine from a good grape.
Okay.
So the grapes are everything.
Normally you often hear eat locally,
Yes.
right? Know where your foods are coming from.
Yep.
Okay, that's very important. So in that idea, how does it connect to drink locally? Why is it important for somebody to come and purchase wine made here?
Well, you're really supporting local farmers. As Bob said, that we get some of our grapes from Westport Rivers in Westport, Massachusetts. You're really supporting local farmers when we can buy our grapes locally. And when you look at our bottling line, every single bottle of wine is done by hand, and Bob and I and our team touch every single bottle. We can only fill 4 bottles at a time. We can only cork 1 bottle at a time. So it is a very labor-intensive process. So when you physically pick up that bottle of wine, and maybe the label's on a little bit crooked, that's from me to you with love. You know that a human being touched that bottle and it wasn't mass produced on a automated bottling line.
Okay.
Which makes a difference because you're buying mass-produced wine. They're going to put the legal limit of sulfur into the wine because they don't want to have a problem with it being on the shelves for 5 years or whatever. We do all the chemistry right here in the back room. We only put the minimal amount of sulfur in that it's going to take to keep the wine.
So what is the proper way to taste wine?
Well, you always want to do your swirl, sniff, and sip, because this
Can
will
I add one to that?
Yes.
You sniff, swirl, and then sniff again.
So you just
And
want.
then taste.
So this wine will taste different when you drink it tomorrow because we've opened it and have had time to breathe. That's why they talk about decanting wine.
So now you have one more reason to wine and dine in Plymouth. And now a look at last week's Halloween. All right, so you are supposed to be...
A money man.
Whose concept was this?
I don't know what that means.
Whose idea was this?
Oh, my sister's.
Your sisters? Okay. So what's your favorite candy?
Kit Kats.
And were you lucky enough to get some?
Yeah.
Okay. May you please say Happy Halloween to our viewers at home?
Happy Halloween.
Thank you so much. Okay, so you are supposed to be
Ursula,
and
Sebastian,
okay, and
King Triton.
wow.
Prince Eric. Who are you?
Ariel.
Okay, so how easy or hard it was to coordinate all of this?
We started in August.
So whom were you last year?
So last year we were the trolls. Yeah.
And you're all a family? Wow! What?
I was Poppy and
Last year.
Last year. Okay, so may we say happy Halloween to our friends out there?
Happy Halloween.
What's your message? So whom are you supposed to be? What is this character? Bye!
Look, you're on the camera right there.
And I'm gonna be right here. And what is your name? Brady. And what's your name?
Andrew.
And your name?
EJ.
Okay, so you are supposed to be Mickey Mouse?
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you turn around so we could see your costume? No? Oh, oh my God. And whom are you supposed to be?
Goofy.
Goofy, and you're supposed to be?
Pluto.
Okay, so may we say happy Halloween, please, to our friends over there? Right on this. Okay, right here. All right, and you yell happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Oh, let's do that again. 1, 2, 3.
Happy
Halloween. Thank you so much. And they are supposed to be
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast. Well, you don't look like a beast. You look like another beautiful person. Oh, you are just busy looking at other costumes, aren't you? Could you say happy Halloween for me?
Happy Halloween.
Thank you. All right, so which family is this supposed to be?
Carbone.
Carbon. Okay, and you are the ghost?
He's the Patriots ghost.
Patriots. Oh! And you are?
Lenny Carbone.
And you are a vampire.
I'm the vampire.
Okay, and you're supposed to be?
A character from a game.
Okay, and you are the Wicked Witch?
Of course, I'm the Wicked Witch.
Okay. May we please say happy Halloween to our viewers at home? Happy Halloween! Thank you so much. All right, so right there where you stand, fantastic. Gita, you taking Halloween to the next level, girlfriend. All right, and you are supposed to be?
The ring.
Gita. Okay, can you turn around so we can see the full? Wow, how hard was to get this outfit?
It was kind of easy. I just got like an old hospital gown and then a wig.
Okay, and then a wig. So what's your favorite candy?
Almond Joys.
And did you get Almond Joy today?
Yeah.
Okay. May you please say happy Halloween to our viewers at home?
Happy Halloween.
Thank you so much. Are they twins?
Yes.
Oh my God, what's your name?
Melanie.
Melanie. And your name?
Amber.
And you are supposed to be... You're supposed to be cowgirls?
Yes.
Oh my goodness! You look so beautiful! Could you say happy Halloween for me?
Happy Halloween.
Thank you. Wow! How you doing?
Good.
Good. Okay, so whom are you?
I'm Freddy Fazbear from Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh, okay. So what is your favorite candy?
Either Reese's Pieces, Reese's Cup, peanut butter cups, or Twix.
Oh my goodness, do we have any of that today?
Yeah, I know they do.
Okay.
Here's one. Here's a Reese's peanut butter cup, and
Yeah.
I have some Twix in right here.
Very, very nice. So would you please say happy Halloween to our viewers out there?
Happy Halloween!
Thank you very much. Da-da-da-da. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
So, whom are you supposed to represent?
I am a tired mom with my coffee and my baby.
Oh my God, where did you get this inspiration from?
I don't know.
Your own mother?
Yeah.
All right, so whom were you last year?
I was in Bulgaria, so I got a witch's hat. So I was a witch. Yeah.
All right. So I love this concept. Is this your doll or you had to purchase this one today?
This is my doll.
This is your doll. Okay, I love this. Did you dress like this in school today?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what's your favorite Halloween candy?
Crunch bars.
Okay, do you have some already?
I don't think so, no.
No, not yet?
Not
so
yet.
that's the mission?
Yeah.
Okay.
Crunch bars.
May you please say Happy Halloween for our viewers at home?
Happy Halloween.
Thank you so much. What's your name?
Charlie.
Okay, Charlie. So whom are you dressed as?
Minion.
A minion? Okay. So could you please scream as loud as you can Happy Halloween for me? No? How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Well, thanks. How you doing?
Good.
Good.
So who are you dressed as?
I'm my own character. I'm a bloody skeleton.
Bloody skeleton.
Yeah.
Okay, and you are?
I'm a dead Alice in Wonderland.
Oh my God.
I'm Rabbit Raider from Fortnite.
Okay, so did you go to school like this?
No, they
No.
wouldn't let us wear makeup or cut masks.
Oh, when did that start?
I think last year, right? Yeah, last year it started.
Okay, so what were you last year?
I was a sloth.
And
I was a spider fairy. Evil spider fairy.
what is an evil
I don't know.
spider? And you were?
I was a big green blow-up man, like.
Okay. All right, so how much candy do we have? We just got started?
Yeah.
Okay, and what is your favorite candy?
Twix.
Twix, okay.
My favorite's Reese's.
All right.
My favorite's Reese's.
Okay. So how about this? How about we say Happy Halloween at once? Like 1, 2, 3.
Happy Halloween.
Thank you both. Thank you. Thank you for joining us, and now we are going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to continue with more.
Today's cell phones are not only an extension of our arms, but a life tool. Hello, I am Maureen Farrington from Advantage Custom Apps. I am here today to talk about a certain app, a tool that will help you navigate your way through the Wareham community. The WCTV app places your local community in the palm of your hand. The app is a place where you will find local events, town meetings, local and school sports, community interest stories, compelling interviews, and most of all, the ability to shop local. Connect to the Wareham app by going to your web browser and typing in wctv.app. And then, once you bring up the web link, you have the opportunity of adding WCTV's app to your home screen. Once you download the app and save it to your home screen, you will then have the opportunity to, with the touch of a finger, hit the call button, which we call WCTV, the refer us button. You can refer the app to your friends and families. There's a Facebook share button if you'd like to put that on your Facebook page as well. And here is the menu tab. On the menu tab, we have YouTube videos, new program proposal, events that WCTV is hosting, a photo gallery, contact button, and can lead you right to their website. We also have a Shop Local tab. When you touch on that, you'll see the local businesses that you can frequent. Also, there's an About Us tab telling you some information about WCTV, their hours and directions. This here will take you right to their Facebook page. There is a donate button if you would like to donate to WCTV, and a join button that will let you join their community. Many local establishments are listing their business on the WCTV app. And you can too. It's a great way to showcase your business to your existing customers and your potential new ones. For a nominal fee, you could list your business on the Shop Local tab as well. A percentage of that fee goes to fund a scholarship for an outgoing senior. So be in the now and get the WCTV app on your home screen.
On this, all right, well, welcome back. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. We're broadcasting live from a WCTV studio in Wareham. This is Good Morning Wareham, your source for local news, weather, traffic, and more information. And now for Today in History, let's take a look at where we were today in history. So on this day in history, today in presidential history, Barack Obama was elected in 2008. He became the first African-American president in the history of the United States. The 44th president beat Republican Senator John McCain, winning 53% of popular vote. Also, today in Egyptian history, and I apologize in advance to this horrible pronunciation that is about to take place, that is, the entrance to the King Tut's tomb was discovered in 1922. The young King Tutankhamun was discovered by Howard Carter, a British archaeologist. The excavation took several years to complete, and thousands of objects were recovered in the Room 4 tomb. King Tut's 3,000-year-old mummy was found in a coffin made of solid gold. Many of these ancient items can be found in the Carrier Museum today. For today in history, in basketball history, the NBA announced that they would be making 4 new teams in 1987. These 4 teams were the Miami Heat, Charlotte Hornets, Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Orlando Magic. All 4 of these teams still play today, though the Charlotte Hornets have gone through a few name changes over the years. The Miami Heat have been the most successful of these 4 teams by far, with 3 NBA championships to their name. The other 3 have never won a championship yet. For today's birthday, shout out goes to Jason, who was a producer here at WCTV, and now he's in school. And happy birthday to everybody else celebrating their big day today. And that's all for this morning Today in History segment. To learn more cool historical facts, you can go online at history.com. The coffee segment is next, but first let's take a look at our events calendar in addition to several other programs we have.
Hello everyone! Welcome back to Wonderful Medicine. I'm your host Noel Wumble, now taking a role not in front of the live studio audience, but behind recorded footage and editing. Today we'll be discussing that which flows through our veins, the rich red stuff, blood. And we'll also learn how carbon monoxide is deadly. Blood is a liquid combination of many different cell types that serve many purposes, including transporting nutrients and oxygen to cells throughout the body, transporting wastes like carbon dioxide out of the body, and helping the body communicate with itself via hormones, among some other functions. The average adult has about 4.5 to 5.5 liters of blood in them at any time, which is more than this. You have more than this whole gallon. I mean, this is water, obviously, not blood. You can't get that legally, and I frankly wouldn't want it in front of me. But you got more than a whole gallon of blood in you at any given moment. First, let's answer this question. Where does blood come from? Interestingly enough, blood comes from tissue inside of bone called red bone marrow. Bone, though very hard and strong, is actually designed in some parts to resemble sponge, hence why scientists call this part of bone spongy bone. In the cavities created by this spongy architecture lies our red bone marrow, where hematopoietic stem cells are harbored. These stem cells can be developed into any of the cell types that occupy blood, which we'll get to in a second. When we are first born, all of our bone marrow is red bone marrow, but as we grow up, we get a lot of it converted into yellow marrow, which is used for fat storage. Now, let's get into who the players are. Who makes up blood? First, we have leukocytes, better known as white blood cells. This is actually a broad category of a variety of cells that have the job of protecting the body from dangers like viruses, harmful bacteria, and even cancer cells that the body creates. Next, we have thrombocytes, better known as platelets. Platelets are not actually full cells in their own right, but rather small fragments of a much bigger cell grown in the bone. Platelets are part of the body's response to injured blood vessels. They help stop the bleeding. Finally, we have erythrocytes, or red blood cells. These guys help transport that oh so important oxygen to the cells of the body. Now these are some beautiful cells. They have a unique donut shape that helps them increase the amount of oxygen they hold by upping their surface area. Their shape also allows them to fit into the very small capillaries so that their oxygen can be given to tissues when they need it. Erythrocytes are able to carry oxygen thanks to a protein called hemoglobin. Each red blood cell contains millions of these proteins, and each protein has 4 subunits. Each unit has the element iron, which gives blood its red color and is what oxygen can bind to when it's transferred from the lungs to the blood. The red blood cells are able to continuously pick up and drop off oxygen thanks to the flexibility of these hemoglobin molecules. However, trouble arises when someone inhales carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide, too, can bind to hemoglobin, but it doesn't let go as easily as oxygen. So when somebody inhales a lot of carbon monoxide, the carbon monoxide holds onto the blood cells and just doesn't let go. When too much carbon monoxide attaches to these cells, the body is unable to get the oxygen that it needs quickly, leading to death. Since carbon monoxide is a colorless and odorless gas, it is very important, imperative even, that carbon monoxide detectors are installed in your home for the safety of you and your family. Well, I hope you had some fun and learned a little bit here on this week's installment of Wonderful Medicine. I'm, as always, Noah Wumble, and I am throwing it back, as always, to the Queen Banda, who will be sitting in this chair once we transition to
her. Thank you for being with us this morning. So right now I'm going to introduce a video, an interview that took place on Friday, November 1st. The interview was with the Massachusetts Nurses Association, the nurses and also mothers, protesting the possible closure of maternity ward at Toby Hospital that is due for December 31st. That is the end of this year. So I had them in the studio to let us know what is going on and why they're protesting. So take a look. has announced on August 29th of this year that they were going to close their maternity ward at the end of this year, that is December 31st. Since then, nurses, community have been rallying against that particular decision. With me today are mothers, nurses, and the former vice president of Massachusetts Nurses Association in the studio to talk about this, to talk not about the emotional side of this argument, but also the logical side about this argument. What is at risk? Welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. You are the former vice president, but you're still on the board of the Massachusetts Nurses Association. Could you please talk about the logical side of this debate, this argument? What is at stake here? What are they actually saying?
So, in all honesty, what's at stake is the safety of maternal and child health in the surrounding community of Wareham. So we have been seeing over the last several years these corporations that own community hospitals, for-profit or non-profit hospitals, closing essential services in our communities. That has ranged from the closure of an entire hospital, North Adams, to Quincy Medical Center, which was a large hospital that serviced, hundreds of thousands of people in the Quincy area, to psychiatric units out in Worcester, Burbank Hospital psychiatric units. They have closed, they are proposing closing ICUs out in the western part of the state, along with psychiatric services. We are seeing it all over the state in all types of, units, whether it be pediatric or maternal or psychiatric or, medical surgical units. And this is a trend that we are standing up against and making the communities aware of and trying to get something done that would provide some pushback and some power to the communities and the people that they serve related to the services that they should be receiving from the hospitals and from the corporations that own those hospitals. Because as it stands right now, those corporations hold all of the power, and there is no mechanism to stop the closure of these essential services. Right now we hold public hearings, but in the end, they still close those units.
So we have heard from South Coast what they have stated as the reason behind the closure. They said that the birth at Toby Hospital have been declining to 22%, and they are seeing about 300 and something birth each year. And so they feel that that is not the community's focus, and they are diverting their focus to the emergency care with the extension of the emergency room. Now, Joyce, you have been a nurse, and you're still a nurse there. You have worked at Toby for very, very long time, about what?
24 years.
24 years. Mm-hmm. So could you tell us about the reality? What is actually taking place in Toby?
At the hospital, well, care is as usual, exceptional. So we provide a service that's not good or not great, it's exceptional. Over the years, we have had the best outcomes in the state of Massachusetts. We have one of the lowest C-section rates in Massachusetts. Our breastfeeding initiation rates, our breastfeeding exclusivity rates, and these are all things that we get reimbursed from, that the Joint Commission recognizes, and they want hospitals to have these numbers. We do it. We have been doing it for years.
Speaking of care, I have Madison. Madison, you recently gave birth at Toby Hospital.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Yeah. So could you tell us, was that a conscientious decision, or you just ended up at Toby because you couldn't predict it?
No, it was definitely a calculated choice. That's where we wanted to go. My sister and I, our mom was a nurse in the unit for about 10 years. So we were both born there. And so we knew as soon as, even before I was pregnant, I knew that's where I wanted to have my kids.
Okay, and what was your experience like?
It was fantastic. I was given every opportunity to to let things happen on my choice and my decisions. I wasn't forced into anything. I had an incredibly long and intense labor. I labored for about 40 hours before the baby started not tolerating the labor anymore. But even at that point, my husband and I were given the power to make the decisions for us and for our family. You know, it wasn't, you know, I feel like at other hospitals we maybe would have been pushed to deliver or have a section by the end of a certain shift or anything like that, but we weren't forced into any decision at all, which was incredibly powerful for us.
Now, Devin, you are an expected mother. Is this going to be your first time?
No, this is actually my third.
Okay, your third.
Yes.
Now, your first two children were delivered at Toby?
Yes, they were.
Okay, so you decided that your third child is also going to be delivered.
That was my plan.
That was
yes.
the plan.
Yes.
But because they're closing
Yes,
at the end of this year, you're not going to make the due date.
No, because she's due January 30th, so I'm going to miss the cutoff.
Okay, so tell us what that felt like.
It was really devastating. I remember Mom sat me down, I thought, to giving me the news, and I just started crying. I was so upset. And which I know is personal, and everything will work out. We have options, but it's just such a loss because I had such incredible experiences with my first two girls at Toby. And like my sister Maddie said, I didn't just end up at Toby. It was something, you know, we live in the area, but I've always wanted to deliver there, and I had such a good experience the first two times. And then also just knowing that I've grown so close to this team of women who work at Toby Maternity and help me deliver my first two kids, and I watch them work with Maddie, that it's just hard to think I'm so ready for my third that I won't be with that same tight-knit group of women who I feel so close to.
Now, South Coast did say this. They said that they will be directing all of the inquiries to New Bedford, St. Luke's Hospital, where they are seeing about 1,500 babies yearly. But they're saying they're going to dedicate the entire maternity ward there for this particular change here. And they sent me a message. I asked them to be here today, but they sent me a message. In that message, a few lines, they said, "This decision was not taken lightly, knowing so many have treasured memories of starting or growing their families at Toby. However, every decision we make at South Coast Health is driven by the needs of our patients and the community we serve." So do you feel they have done enough? Telling you to go to New Bedford, is that enough? And if not, why not?
I think it's fair, and we're not left with no options. As a community, like you said, you can go to New Bedford, you can go to Plymouth, there are options around here. But it doesn't seem, they presented it, I felt, particularly in that statement in August, that don't worry, you're going to have exactly what we had in Wareham. We're going to move everyone to New Bedford. And talking to some of the women at the maternity ward and providers, that that's not necessarily the case. It's not going to be this smooth transition where everyone's just going to pack it up and go. So knowing that I can go there, I'll be safe is nice, but it's not going to be the community that you've grown so close to and want to be with and feel comfortable around. So,
I mean, I'd just like to make a point too, is that while Devin and Maddie have the capability to be able to go to New Bedford for these services, they would rather go to Toby because of the exceptional care that is given there. But we have a number of women who live in these communities who don't have the option of making those choices. They, don't have the ability to have the transportation or the means to get to a hospital outside of their community. And what we have seen when we have the closure of services such as this, which happened in Taunton at Wharton Hospital, when they closed the maternity services there, is that we have women who are presenting in the emergency room in acute crisis, because not everybody has an easy delivery. So when South Coast talks about, I think, what was it that you said, that they, every decision that they make is driven by the needs of the patients and the communities they serve, I would say, I would call and say, no, I don't believe so. I believe that corporation, every decision that they make is based on profit. And we should be doing everything possible to expand services at Toby Hospital, it sounds like. So where they give such exceptional care and women come from all over to get that exceptional care. It's astounding. When she talked about the rates, the low cesarean section rates at her hospital, we had nurses in the audience at the DPH hearing who work in maternity units throughout the state who were astounded at that number. They wish that they were able to achieve that at their own hospital. So let's be clear, this was not driven by taking a look at the needs of the community. If it was, they would actually have been announcing an expansion of services and not the closure of services.
Okay, so they are expanding in terms of expansion of services. They're expanding the emergency unit, as we talked about, because it feels that the need in our community in Wareham is geared mostly towards that. Let's talk about the numbers. They say the decline or childbirth, that's what is pushing this decision. Being on the board of Massachusetts Nurses Association, could you tell us what that means? I mean, how much money are they really losing to the point that they need to close this ward, or is just there's another motivation behind this decision?
Okay, so it ends up being fairly complex. So a lot of times what we see is, first of all, there are trends with maternal and childbirth rates throughout the state. So we could be seeing, in particular, just a dip in the rate, but then it will go back up. So sometimes you take a look at the numbers, and that's the reason for the numbers. Another time is oftentimes these hospitals will make a calculated approach as to a closure of service. They will siphon off services and means for particular units because they'd like to close them and potentially expand elsewhere. It's about where they want to put their money. So what we saw as a trend is, for instance, I think some of the women that we have talked to have talked about VBACs, which is the ability to have vaginal birth after cesarean section. Those services were moved a number of years ago because you need to have an anesthesiologist on 24/7. No one has said that maternity services are cheap. They are not, because they require an array of services. So you need a pediatrician, you need an obstetrician, you need an anesthesiologist, you need nurses, you need OR capabilities, all of those types of things. But what we are seeing is that they will expand services elsewhere, which then siphons off services in another area, and then they get to then announce at some future point in time when they haven't replaced nurses who have left, or women have had to go elsewhere because they aren't capable to have a certain service at this particular hospital. Oh, well, the numbers are low now. But
so you're saying these numbers are staged?
I would say that they are probably skewed because, let's face it, they did expand services at St. Luke's, and I would say it was a calculated decision on South Coast to move the services at Toby Hospital over to St. Luke's. Which I think is something that we have been seeing throughout the state, and they have the capabilities to do it, and then they come out and they say, well, the numbers are low. And the thing is, these women, when they give birth at their community hospital, they then bring in their families for care at that hospital. So it is more than just giving birth to your child at a particular hospital. It is about the entire family who lives in that community, who then take advantage of all the services that that hospital offers as in the future.
Hello, my name's Andrea Fonseca. Just to give you a little background about myself, I am a nurse. I actually work at Brigham and Women's. I live in New Bedford, so born and raised in this area. We have good ties to Wareham, familial ties. I had my first daughter at Toby. I would have had my second daughter there, except I did have a successful VBAC, but I was forced to have that VBAC at St. Luke's. Something that really struck a chord with me throughout this is, you know, the fact, and this is countrywide, this is not just here in Massachusetts or here in Wareham, all over this country, the reimbursement rates for maternity care is so low. The reimbursement rate for vaginal delivery is about half of what it costs a hospital. So I know there are real financial issues on the hospital side. I agree community hospitals, no matter what, need to service their community. But why is it that this country doesn't value women's health? Why is the reimbursement rate so low? You know, I really think that if we're really going to change this, I mean, this is a ripple effect going on everywhere, especially in the rural part of this country. It's awful. But until we really get the people with money and power to value women's health care, to value women, this is going to keep happening no matter where it is. And I'm not sure what we can do about that. I think this is a place to start. This is one little piece of this puzzle. But this is a huge puzzle. And the puzzle is going to keep being dismantled if we don't stand up for ourselves as women and get other people to value us as women. That was the biggest thing that I really discovered during all this.
So could we talk about the power of the state? During last hearing in Wareham, the Department of Public Health was there to facilitate the hearing. What power do they have in this? What do they get to say?
So the Department of Public Health, anytime a corporation who owns a hospital announces a closure of a service, they are obligated to provide notice to the Department of Public Health, who will then hold a public hearing to hear from the stakeholders, which is the patients in that particular community related to the services. They will then deem whether or not that is an essential service that is needed for the community. And what we have found is that Department of Public Health, they will deem a service as essential to the healthcare needs of that particular community. And in the end, the hospital corporations then turn around and they say, thank you very much, DPH, and we're still closing because they can.
And what power does the Massachusetts Nurses Association have?
So we have filed legislation at the State House. It is called the, basically it's an essential services bill, which would require hospitals, it would require, as opposed to, I believe it's a 90-day notice from we are closing to when they have the capability to close. It would expand the amount of time that you know, that they would have, so up to a year, I believe it is now. Not only that, but DPH would have the ability to, yes, hold hearings, but that hospital would be limited to the expansion of services while they were in this period. Because that is what we have been seeing. They announce closure here and they expand services elsewhere. So it's a good bill, and I think people should take a look at it, and I think it's something that's comprehensive and will actually put some teeth into what the community citizens of Massachusetts can expect.
Have you explored any compromises with South Coast? Have you sat down with them and say, I get it, you're losing money, or this is not a lucrative part of the business, the service is still very essential to the community, how about we do this?
What would you say to that, Joyce? I mean, how do you compromise on women and children's health? How do you compromise on the safety of patients? How do you compromise on
the available care in the community where women can't get to another hospital?
So when we are talking about the need of those who do not have the means to make the journey to New Bedford from Wareham, a 20-minute journey to Wareham for any means, you know, how do you defend that we need to include them in this decision and we need to think of them in this decision?
So what I would say is that hospitals are obligated to take care of all patients. We don't put our patients into categories related to socioeconomic status or gender or or any category, a patient is a patient, and they are obligated to provide care to everyone. Bottom line.
We also there are patients in the community of Wareham that choose to go to Boston for whatever reason. It could be that's where they choose to deliver. It could be that maybe they're a high-risk pregnancy that they need to go to Boston, and for some reason they can't get there, and so they show up at Toby. We have to provide care. We have to stabilize them, and sometimes we can't stabilize them enough to transfer them to the facility that they needed to go to, and we have to deliver them. We have to be ready, prepared, and have the knowledge to take care of them, stabilize them, healthy, and then transfer if we have to. So if this service is not here providing service to patients that maybe can't get to Toby or get to St. Luke's or even get to the hospital that they're supposed to deliver at, they need a place to have a safe delivery, and that they don't only need it, they deserve it.
Could you tell us about your experience, Devon, when was it your first or your second?
My first.
Your first, and you chose to be here in Wareham, or?
Yeah, I did. I chose to be here.
You chose to be here in Wareham, but the baby was coming way too fast. And
she came very fast,
okay.
Yes. So even though I have the car, I had transportation, and I know New Bedford isn't that far of a ride, but I had her within minutes of arriving at Toby, so if I had been driving to New Bedford, it's highly likely I would have had her in the car. So it's just so essential to have this service in local communities where people are expanding their families, and to have a service at the community hospital, because that's our community. People are having children, and sometimes things don't go according to plan, or babies decide to come pretty fast.
And we don't know. We don't plan.
No.
We don't tell when they're coming. We don't know when they're coming. If we knew that, we wouldn't be here, right? Babies come when they come. They come out how they come out.
So when Toby is expanding the emergency center to accommodate the trend in our community, for those who feel that since we are going to have a well-equipped emergency room, for those unplanned, untiming birth, they can just be directed to the emergency room. Tell us why this is not a good decision.
The emergency room provides great care to their emergency patients. The skill to be able to take care of a mom and a baby that's going to be delivered safely is not something that they're trained in. It takes years to develop the feeling confident and taking very good care of these moms. They're not going to come into the emergency room, and maybe there's going to be a mom who presents and she has a breech baby. For those of you that don't understand, that this baby is presenting either feet or buttocks and not head. Typically that's an emergency, and then they would need to have an operative delivery. And if it's not safe to transfer that patient, someone's going to have to do that delivery. Who's going to do it?
And the emergency room is not equipped for something like this.
They don't have the skill or the knowledge.
And not having the skill or the knowledge means someone's life. And in this case, 2 lives.
Correct.
Exactly.
Okay. So where are we today? We had a rally. Where are we? How optimistic are you in this fight? Is the point getting across, and do you think Toby is going to make the right decision?
I don't know if Toby will make the right decision. They have the ability to make the right decision. And I think we, at the very least, are bringing more of an awareness to the citizens of Massachusetts that these corporations need to truly provide an entire spectrum of services to the communities that they serve, because that is what a hospital does.
What can our community do to help, to aid you in this fight?
I think they need to make calls. They need to make calls not only to their legislators, but they need to make calls to Keith Hovan, who is the CEO of South Coast Hospital System, and let them know that this is a poor decision, and that, you know, they don't agree with it, and that, you know, I think the community needs to fight back. They need to stand up and they need to fight back. we're going to do everything possible to continue the fight.
Well, thank you everybody for being here this morning to give us a little light about this situation and to explain things into details for us to understand what is at risk here. And I'm sorry that you will not. Maybe things will change.
Maybe.
So to my viewers, thank you so much for being with us, joining us in this discussion. I had Joyce Heisley-Pikella.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness, she is, she's still a nurse at Toby Hospital. She's been there for 24 years. So you have to pay attention to what she says. And also Karen Coughlin. She was the vice president of Massachusetts Nurses Association. She's still on the board. So
And still a nurse.
Still a nurse. Okay.
And still a nurse.
And we had Devin Jamora. Okay, and she's an expected mother who, depending on what the decision will be, she may or may not be delivering her child as she planned at Toby. And last but not least, Madison Smith, who just delivered a couple weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
2
yep.
weeks ago. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And she had a great experience at Toby, and she wishes that for every single family, for every single woman. So thank you. There's plenty to understand here, to listen to, and as you have heard from Karen, that you can join in the fight through calling those responsible. Make sure that they understand this is something not to be taken lightly and you are paying attention. I am Queen Banda of WCTV, and I wish you all a lovely day. Bye. Thank you for joining us this morning. I hope you learned so much from this morning's show, especially watching that interview that took place last week. There's plenty of ways that you can assist the MNA. For now, if you missed us, please visit us at 6 p.m. this evening. The show will re-air then. It will also go on our YouTube channel at Wareham Community Television on YouTube. In this particular interview, the last piece that you saw will also go on Facebook as soon as possible. Thank you, Wareham, and I'll see you on Wednesday with another great program. Bye.